Imagine you had the ability to create the most powerful and most destructive object in the universe. You'd probably want to, right? You'd be like, wow, this is really cool. I should do this. Well, I'm not going to show you how to do that because I don't know how to do that. Instead, I'm going to show you the ancient art form of creating the perfect paper ball. Now, I myself have studied this art form and perfected it over many millennia, so you know you can trust me and that I am a professional when it comes to creating paper balls. Now, I'm going to start out by showing you the various forms of paper that you could use, the various kinds of paper, what you shouldn't use, you know, all the good stuff like that. Then we'll go over the best part, the juicy part, how to actually form the paper ball. And then I'll leave you with some very important safety information on what you should not do with this sacred art. Now, the first thing I'm going to go over here is the kinds of paper that you can use. Now, the most classic kind of paper ball you'll find is probably either going to be made with just a blank old piece of paper, or you might find some very professional people who make their own paper balls using things like their homework. Now, I do recommend using your homework, especially the homework that you haven't turned in yet, because it usually does turn out to make the best balls. I couldn't tell you why, but the best paper balls do usually come from your homework. Now, I have one here that I'm going to use as my example. It has my social security number written right on it right here. I know a good few people do actually use their social security number written on a piece of paper like this. Mine right here. This paper will make a really great paper ball here. You generally don't want to use paper that's like super hard or like cardboard, because that just won't, you know, fold right. It won't make the right kind of paper ball. So generally we're going to want to stick with any piece of paper that has a solid, just thin build. Not solid, actually, believe it or not. I lied to you. I'm playing with your emotions now. Get cooked. Anyways, so what are we going to do to actually make this paper ball? Well, we're going to want to take this piece of paper. It's very complicated. Make sure you pay attention. We're going to take it, and we're just going to go top to bottom, just smash it up like this. Make sure you get it all nice and crumpled, nice and tight, nice and crumpled like that. Now we have this beautiful, wonderful paper ball right here. You can use it for anything you want to do. You can throw it at people. You can throw it at people, and I believe you could also use it to throw it at people. I don't know if I've said this before, but I guess another different use of this is you could use it to throw at people, believe it or not. But you know, now that you've like made it all right, you've made this perfect paper ball. You're like, well, Seth, what shouldn't I do? What doesn't work? What can't I do with this paper ball? What should I, you know, keep in mind when I'm making it so I don't accidentally create a black hole or something? You never know. Anything is possible. Well, one thing that you're going to want to make sure you do is whenever you choose your piece of paper, make sure that this piece of paper does not have the number 42 written anywhere on that paper, or else nefarious, undistinguishable from mass genocide activities may end up happening, like a black hole or like the entire planet imploding. This is very possible. I would not recommend trying building a paper ball with a piece of paper that has the number 42 written on it. That could end up happening with something very bad. Now, it is possible that you could get lucky and nothing will happen. If nothing happens, if you do attempt making a paper ball with the number 42 on it and nothing does happen, it's most likely that you got very lucky. 1 in like 3 billion chances that you won't actually have the planet implode upon making a paper ball with the number 42. Another thing that you shouldn't do when making paper balls is you should not make paper balls out of rocks and throw them at children. I've learned, don't ask how I've learned, but I have learned that some people don't appreciate that. Don't make the paper balls out of children themselves. That usually isn't socially acceptable. Don't ask how I know that one either, but it's not. So yeah, keep in mind when you make a paper ball, make sure you choose the right piece of paper. Something, you know, like a regular piece of paper, not too crunchy, not too hard. You can have numbers written on it, anything, whatever you want. Best, in my opinion, is a paper ball with either your social security number written on it or your homework that still needs to be turned in written on it. And then when you make this paper ball, you're going to, I'll give you another example. You're going to want to take this paper ball, this piece of paper, and you're just going to want to flush it down, make it nice and crumpled, nice and tight, and then you'll have just a phenomenal paper ball right here. It's so beautiful, so nice, so beautiful. And then the final thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remember that you cannot actually make a paper ball with the number 42 on it unless you want to potentially influence social economic collapse or the imploding of the entire planet. Who knows, maybe the star might implode. Like the sun, we might not have the sun tomorrow. If everything explodes tomorrow, it's probably because somebody made a paper ball with the number 42 on it. Now, as long as you do not make a paper ball with the number 42 on it, you're probably going to be fine. It won't cause the collapse of the entire planet and the social infrastructure, all that fancy jazz. Now, you might want to stay away from making paper balls out of babies as well, as I had previously said because no bueno. But yeah, basically, it'll be great. It'll be fun. If you make a paper ball correctly, it'll be the most fun you've ever had. If you disagree with me, you're actually wrong. It's not up for debate. If you disagree, you're wrong. It's the most fun you'll ever have. Do not disagree with me. I will find you.